18 to 34 is the most popular. And like I said, usually with these platforms, that is the most active group. But what seeing such things should be making you think is, in terms of your audience and your content, right? What are you posting on Facebook? And what you are posting on Facebook, does it correlate to who is on Facebook, right? So if you are running a program directed um, at school students, high school students between the ages of 13 and 17, you see that the percentage, just over 10% of them are on Facebook. So that's 10% of internet users in that age range. So the percentage goes even lower for your niche or your particular people that you want to reach in that group, depending on their community, the social circumstances. So you want to think when you see such stats, and obviously you want to incorporate other stats into this. So it's not just age, but it's also social class, it's also gender. You want to think, if this is who I want to reach, are they on Facebook? Um, and if you want to reach 15-year-olds, um, chances are lower that you'll get them on Facebook. And then you might want to think, then where do I get them? But let's say that you do think that they are on Facebook. Maybe you want to reach people between the ages of 25 and 34. Um, then what you want to then you want to create content that mimics what is popular on Facebook. You want to understand the Facebook algorithms. I think Tamsin will speak a bit more about algorithms, but you also want to have content that mimics what is popular there. For example, these are some of the things that are popular on Facebook. User-generated content. By the way, user-generated content is generally a very popular thing. And user-generated content means that content created by the people that you are talking to. So people love seeing themselves. This is why when you watch the news on TV, and even on radio, sometimes when you listen to the news, they ask people to send their videos of themselves sharing their opinions. They do that not because they want to fill in the last 2 minutes before the news ends. They do that because people love that. Doing that increases engagement and increases viewership. So you want to think about what kind of user generated content can you use on Facebook. That also, what the other thing that's really important on Facebook is videos. Videos in general, but native videos in particular. And what native video means is that it's a video that you upload from your device directly to Facebook. So this did not, it's not a video that you're not putting a YouTube link. When I was working at SABC, I was working in the digital news department. It was always amazing the difference it would make when we put a YouTube link when we put a YouTube link on Facebook versus versus a native video of the same thing or a similar thing on Facebook. The viewership just skyrockets when you put a native video as opposed to putting a link. And that's part of understanding the algorithms and what that platform prefers. Because what we see on our feed is not necessarily always what is the most popular. Sometimes it's just how the platform prefers to put or to prioritize. Giveaways are also very popular on Facebook, and inspirational content. And again, I will say, because I'm going to rush through the others because my time is really up. I'm going to rush through the others, and we will share this um, with Naski to share with everyone this presentation. But the point there is that you do not have to, you don't have to do exactly as they say, but you have to think about, if this is what is popular, if this is how people like to receive the information on this platform, how do I mimic my or create my content so that it looks like theirs? And I'll give you an example just now when we go to TikTok. So this is YouTube. You'll see again similar age group, very similar age group is what is popular there. And not surprisingly, songs are the most popular thing. But what I thought was also interesting was that testimonials from customers, from people who've used certain services, are one of the most searched for things on YouTube. So people believe YouTube, I mean, video testimonials more than the written reviews and whatnot. People like to watch videos of other people's experiences. Um, Apparently it's more believable when people watch a video of saying, oh yes, I've been working with this organization and this is what they've done for us and whatnot. So you might want to consider using YouTube as a place where you put videos of people, whether it's your beneficiaries or your funders, talking about the work that you do and the impact that you are doing, because that also might help you in building your reputation online. When people go online and that comes up, when they see the videos of people saying the good work that you do, that would be it would be easier for them than to trust you. This is particularly the case, for example, if somebody wants to donate to your crowdsourcing site, and they want to do some research about you. If they find a video of somebody talking about you, um, the chances that they'll believe and trust you are higher than if it's maybe text. And those testimonials are really popular on YouTube. And again, video interviews as well, which is why video casts are on the rise, which is why influencers are now doing these YouTube talk show like things, really popular. And again, you might want to think about, especially if you want to establish yourself as a thought leader in your particular field, you might want to think about, is that something we want to do? Um, Again, also depending on who you want to reach out to with those things, because if you want to reach out to funders with those video interviews, then you want to ask yourself, who's our funder and are they on YouTube? So Instagram, um, similar kind of age group, but then here we see that here on Instagram, the influencer content is really popular. Um, Generally, obviously, influencers are a thing, but remember, who's influential is different on each platform. For example, on Instagram, people will listen to Kanye. Kanye's popular. Kanye Mbao is popular on Instagram. I, as a journalist, for example, on Instagram, not so much. No, people don't care what I have to say on Instagram. On Twitter, it's the opposite. On Twitter, I'm more influential than Kanye is, because it's a different kind of it's a different thing. People are looking for a different thing. So influencers, in the sense of people who come and say, oh yes, I'm using this product, whatever, I'm working with these people. That's really popular on Instagram. Reels popular, live videos, interactive content. So, with the Instagram stories, you can ask questions and people interact with. Those are really, really popular. And you always want to have content where people can interact with you, because you never want to create a social media um, uh, presence where you are always just talking to people and it's never a two-way street. This is why the issue of engagement is so important, because it always needs to be a two-way street. Even with influencers, this is my last point on this and I'll move on. Even with influencers, and some of you will know this because you probably do it already if you work with influencers. What organizations look for with influencers is not always, or is not even how many followers do you have. It's how much engagement do you have, because it's easy to get followers. You can even buy them. But to get engagement, to get people who talk to you, who ask you questions, who converse with you, that is gold. And the interactive content enables you to do just that. Um, TikTok rising in popularity, particularly among the younger groups. You will see that between the ages 15 to 34, that is almost 70% of TikTok users in South Africa. So this is the popular content, but this is where I say you do not have to necessarily make TikTok videos of people dancing, but you do have to create videos that kind of mimic the culture. So you're not going to be too somber and too serious on um, on on um, on TikTok. The other time we were doing some training with people from Media 24, and news is not like the most popular thing on TikTok, but their TikTok journalist, their TikTok manager sometimes gets videos that are like 1 million views, just because she delivers the news in a way that mimics the culture of TikTok. She delivers the news in a way that people still feel like, oh, I'm on TikTok. You don't want people to feel like, oh, now I'm on Twitter, when they're on TikTok. So this is what's popular, but this is just to say, this to help you understand how you can craft your content. And then Twitter really popular for current affairs, thought leadership. This is where people want to talk rather than just go through memes. People want to actually have a conversation, and delve a little bit deeper. So this is where you want to be, where if you want to push certain issues, and get a debate going, and so on. Yeah. And then just to finish off with LinkedIn, uh, so LinkedIn is also very important, in terms of social media profiles, just because it's a place where you can. A lot of civil society organizations use LinkedIn as a place where they can communicate to funders, mostly. And what people are looking for in LinkedIn, what's most popular is industry research, opportunities, inspiration. So if you want to establish yourself as an authority in what you do, um, Twitter, LinkedIn, those are the places where you should be sharing your thoughts. You should be sharing more um, in-depth, in-depth thoughts on what is going on in your industry. So you show people that we're not just doing this. There's a lot of thought behind this. This is who we are professionally. That is also really a big part of building your overall profile on social media. Um, so I've gone way up over my time. I'm really sorry, Tamsin, and I'm wondering if there are no pressing questions. Um, Maybe we can take them at the end. Let me just see what's. Okay, there's a hand. Yeah, maybe one or two questions, and then I'll hand over to Tamsin.
Hi, this is Kolisa speaking. I work for Strong Schools Community Collaborative, and I just wanted to know if you have any insight on the importance of email marketing, like for example, MailChimp. Do you know how you can keep your people engaged by using that?
Okay. Is there any other questions so that we can take two questions and then go into and then we can be done with the questions. Any other questions?
Good morning, everyone. It's Dorcas Dube from Citizen Leader Lab. I think my question relates to your statement that said that we need to meet people where they are instead of sending people to where we are. So my question is more alluding to, as non-governmental organizations, we've spent so much money on building websites and making them, user-friendly. So how do we then kind of move to meeting people where they are and not utilizing our website per se? Because what we usually do is try and move traffic to our website because we spend so much time, efforts, and resources on our websites. So we try to utilize them as much as we can. And I do really get your point of meeting people where they are, but I think the at the core of what we do, we try and move people to the website because that's where we have all the information, and we spend a lot of funding, to update these websites and to build these websites. Thanks.
Okay, so Dorcas, I'll start with your questions and then I'll move to Xolani's question. Um, so I'm not saying that your website is irrelevant now. Your website is still a big part of where people can find you, and your social media, I mean, your online profile, and part of trust. Sometimes when people can't find your website, they really don't trust you. What I am saying is that um, you do also have to move with people's behavior. there's a lot of there's a lot of competition for people's attention online. The moment I switch on my phone, there's a gazillion things that can call my attention, and you have two choices. You have the choice to think that, for example, if you're on Instagram, to think that people will, when they're going through your feed, when they're going through their feed and they come across your profile, they will they come across your post, they will, and it says in the caption, link in bio. Nobody does that, unless it's really, really compelling. Nobody goes to, okay, now let me go to the profile, let me go to the bio, let me go to the link. They don't do that. So if you want to still have people engage, because the main, for me, the main thing is not to get people to come to your website. The main thing is to have change. Whether the change happens through the website or the social media, it's irrelevant. Yes, you have a beautiful website, but the biggest goal is the change that you want to see. And so, if you can see that change through your social media, and this is how people are behaving, by all means, you need to do that. Not to say you stop with your website, but it's to say that people are behaving a certain way, uh, because of social media, because of smaller attention spans, because people don't want to be bothered to go from one link to another to another. And what you want to do to be effective in reaching your goal is to just meet people where they are. If people can donate, I saw that Instagram now has a feature for social causes where people can donate through Instagram. If people can donate through Instagram, and what you want is donations, why would you still want to then want them to go to your website? So for me, I think it's just a matter of what is the overall goal that we want, the number one goal. So if there are different ways to get to that goal, let's use different ways. And sometimes your website will be part of that, but less and less the website is where people get your information from. People usually get your information from your social media, not your website. And then just quickly with engaging with engaging emails. With engaging emails, one of the things with your emails is that you want to make your emails social media, multimedia, right? Different ways of, so it's not text, a picture there. The beautiful things with emails is, with emails and newsletters, is that you can have different forms of multimedia. And again, and maybe that's how you can also take people back to your side. If you just give people a snippet of the most compelling, so you almost have to put your email as though you're like writing news. You know, with news they give you the juiciest things. So if you have those snippets of compelling stuff, but then you make it multimedia. And then also very important with emails and making them effective, also user generated content, so that people can see themselves. The people that you are talking to can see themselves in your emails, and it becomes like they see themselves, and it doesn't feel like you are talking to them and not ever with them. Um, and you're very responsive even in your email communications, and you build that culture of responsiveness. But the type of content is really important. Multimedia, riveting, and user generated content in your emails, that's really important. I know some organizations also always put in those competitions or whatever, just to keep people engaged in their emails. But I'll end it there. Tamsin, I'm so sorry. But you can go from here, Tamsin.
Thanks, Mama Ponia. You know what? It's okay. You don't have to apologize. I think that you covered a large amount of what we wanted to talk about today. And I think that you covered it really well. And you really dove deep into there. And I see that in one of the comments, Judith says that it was a very fresh and engaging presentation. So I think that your extra time was very necessary and very helpful. Thank you. So I'm just going to share my screen quickly. And then if I can find what I'm trying to share. Okay, so this is gonna do this, and I should just go into and then play. Everybody can see my screen? I can't see anyone, so I'm also gonna need a yes or a no.
Yes.
Yay, fantastic. Okay, so because we've only got half an hour, I'm going to take 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to quickly run through this part. But what we're going to do is we're going to share the presentations with you, which is really, really important, because in our presentations, we've also added links to resources that you can look at yourselves. So while Mama Punya has discussed target audiences and who you need to talk to, I'm going to take us into the little bit of the more technical side of things, to discuss kind of how technically we can get more value without having to spend too much money, and also try to create quite an impact and reach the people that we want to reach, right? So earlier on, Mama Punya shared with us what are the most popular platforms and applications that people use. But I wanted to share with you that this is what happens on the internet in 1 minute. And the reason that I'm sharing this with you is because many things happen and are happening at the same time. And all of these things are feeding into the internet algorithm. So when we get to the algorithm a little bit later on, or just now, remember that in 60 seconds, WhatsApp is happening, YouTube, Instagram, Tinder, TikTok, Snapchat, Netflix, Facebook, Google. So many things are happening at the same time, and that it's completely normal for what you're putting out to get lost somehow in that algorithm. So this is what happens on the internet in 1 minute. But what we're going to learn in the next couple of minutes is how you can optimize your work to make sure that you are part of that 1 minute, right? So what we're going to talk about is enhancing engagement and increasing our followers. So what I have here is 10 tricks, or 10, I wouldn't call them tricks, I shouldn't call them tricks, 10 things that are kind of like key sections that you can hold on to and kind of use as a checklist when you're putting together your marketing and communication strategy, and from that putting together a social media strategy or a digital plan, right? So identify your social media goals. Do you want to bring people to your website? Do you want to increase engagement? Do you want to increase your followers? Do you want to increase your followers who are funders and not necessarily your followers who are part of the community that you serve? Think about in your teams, what is our social media goal first? Because once you have a goal, you can work towards it. So once you identify your social media goal, then fill out your profiles, your social media profiles in their entirety. So Mama Punya showed you the WhatsApp profile and how you can put in a description of yourself, the name of your business, you can do pictures, you can put up a menu or a list of services, etc. What a lot of organizations do is they have a Twitter page, for example, Frey College of Communications, an email address, and that's it. But what we can do is go Frey College of Communications, serving journalists and those who work with journalists, response times between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. SAS, 5 p.m. South African Standard Time. If we don't respond to you within 24 hours, please email admin@freycollege.com. What we're doing is we're making ourselves accessible to those who follow us and those who start to follow us so that we can meet our social media goals. Then use hashtags. When you put out social media posts, anything, if it's a quote, use the hashtag quote. If it's a picture of your CEO that is speaking at an event, or your communications manager delivering school shoes, use hashtags and look at the hashtags that are being used. Hashtag school shoes, hashtag communications, hashtag training, hashtag making the world better. What happens is that you can monitor your content using these hashtags. And then when you report and you pull the analytics together, you only have to go onto these platforms and search the hashtags, in addition to the other ways of reporting, obviously. But when you find the hashtags, you'll also find not only what you're saying. For example, if you're delivering school shoes on Nelson Mandela Day, and you hashtag Nelson Mandela Day, right? What you'll also see is the content that other people are putting out in connection with that day. So you can compare your content with hashtags. You can optimize your content with hashtags. You can draw reports using hashtags. Do you see how already, just by number 3, we're enhancing engagement and increasing followers by just being a little more meticulous by how we are optimizing our social media experience as the organizations ourselves? Then create valuable content. So Mama Ponya spoke about being visual, using videos, using pictures, using messages on WhatsApp, creating things that are accessible to people who can't always come to your website, who can't always come to your conferences, or can't always come to your events, right? Create valuable content that people can engage with in their own time. Use images, right? Then include calls to action. If you have a petition, give people a way that they can access the petition. If you have, for example, we have been advertising the marketing and communications course for impact on social media. On LinkedIn, we say click here and you can get the information. But on Instagram, you have to go to the link in bio, right? And it's really, really complex because not everybody does that. But what we've done is we've said, DM us and we'll email you. So you respond to that post, you send us an inbox message, and we go, hi, Gladys, great, we'll send you all the information you need, send us your email address. What we've done is we've created a call to action that works for us, that makes you do less work, we do more work, and you come and spend time on our pages, interacting with us, taking part in our courses. So enhancing enhancing engagement and increasing followers is not a B C D E F G toolkit. These are 10 things. You don't have to do all of these 10 things. You're going to look at these 10 things and go, okay, do we have our goals? Are our profiles full? Have we been using hashtags? Yes, we've been using hashtags. So that's not something we need to worry about. Maybe we need to include calls to action or use attention grabbing headlines. Are you writing articles on your website? For example, if you're going to put out a press release, is the headline of your press release? Okay, I found this on. Sorry, that's Siri. Or is it an engaging headline? Then be active on social media sites that add value to your, it should say organization, excuse me. So what we do in the Communications and Marketing for Impact course is we discuss which social media sites work for your organization. So for those of you that have not been taking part in the course, this is something that I think is very, very important that you remember. As an organization, you don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to be on every platform. You don't have to have a Facebook, a Gmail, an Instagram, a LinkedIn, because that's called spraying and praying. What you're doing is you're opening 9 accounts and you're spreading yourself so thinly across those 9 accounts that you are now creating less and less capacity to focus on the accounts and create and repurpose meaningful content for the accounts where the followers are engaging, where they are taking part, where they are clicking, where there's an increase in followers, and where funders are spending time. A lot of the time we think in order to get stakeholders and investors, we need to be everywhere. But in order to get stakeholders and investors, we need to create quality where we are. So for example, Frey College uses LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, excuse me. Right? And then we've got a YouTube page, but we use our YouTube page primarily for our webinars and live streamings, etc. We've done this intentionally so that when we are active on these sites, we add value. So we don't have a TikTok account and we don't have a Snapchat account, and we have a WhatsApp where we respond mainly to our participants and students. But what we've done is we've created spaces where we can do quality work. And because we are doing quality there, our engagement is really rich. And our followers are those who engage with us and are really loyal and they participate. Do you see where I'm going with this, right? Then optimize your posting schedule. If you type into Google now, optimal times to post on a Thursday on Facebook, it's going to give you certain times. And it's going to give you certain times from experts, from expert articles. Use those things to your advantage. That information is free. And then track your progress. Now, in tracking your progress, you don't have to download management tools. Each social media platform has a management and analytics tool where you should be able to download that information and correlate it into a report. Right. I know that was really, really quick, but I just want to make sure that you get the basics and we'll share the presentation with you. Right. So let's talk about tips and tricks. To grow your following, right? Social media engagement is a numbers game. It's a numbers game, whether we like it or not. The more followers you have, the more interaction you'll see with your social media posts, which means one of your goals should be to get more followers. So we've discussed that, right? So keep in mind, though, that you don't just want any followers. And this is what we were saying about spraying and praying. When it comes to increasing engagement, you want quality followers who are interested in your brand and your organization and the work that you do and the community that you serve. So what you want to do is that you want to make sure that when you're adding the quality of your content, that the followers, that you are kind of using a filter. And by filter, I mean yourself, to go through who's following you, what is the content that they're looking at, what kind of audience member are they, and why are they following you? And then curate content to communicate with them in that way, because they may then become a loyal follower. Then be authentic. Is there a question? Or did somebody just put their mic on by accident? Okay. So be authentic. One of the things that is so important in NGO work, NPO work, especially in work where we serve communities, that are underserved, if we're not authentic and we come across like we're advertising, or we speak a lot of jargon, or we come in only when we need something, when we need pictures of all of these children running together to the bus, we lose our following, and people lose faith in us because we're just there, we're looking for clout, right? So when you're being authentic, then you are giving your followers and your audiences a role in deciding which companies and which organizations they want to support. And you are giving people an opportunity to be involved in the work that you do. So another tactic, for example, that you could use is to just be honest, whether it's acknowledging your mistakes or sharing your values, or any of those things. Honesty goes a long way. If you say that this is the third time we've visited this community, this is the third time that we've decided to help this particular school because we've reached out to these organizations, whether it's government or non-government, and they've not supported us. Why don't you click in the link to sign the petition to have this district schooling, queried? And so what you're doing is, yes, you're being authentic and you're bringing something into the community, but you've also got a call of action to take something out, and you're empowering people. So grow your following, be authentic. Then practice proactive engagement. I want you to go and click on these links when you have this presentation in front of you. It will just take you 5 minutes to kind of go through. But proactive social media engagement strategies require you to start the conversation, right? So moderating branded groups with active forums. So this is this is just jargon, actually, for saying host a Twitter space with other like-minded organizations and talk about the work that you do. When we talk about NGO work and serving communities, what's happening is that we are not competitors. We are only competing for funding and investment, but we have the same cause. We want to better this community. We want to uplift and empower. So as organizations, if your organization serves young children, and my organization serves older kids, older youth, 16 and up, and Mama Punya works or supports or is on the board of an organization that really crowdfunds for tertiary funding. Why don't we have a Twitter space and one of us moderates, and we have a forum and we have a discussion about this, and we record it and we cut it up into chunks, and then we make monitoring branded hashtags, and we have a hashtag for this forum that we've created, and then we create social media stories with Instagram links, with recordings of our conversations, with layovers of images of the children in these communities and the communities that we serve. You see how we are now growing a campaign together. We had a Twitter space. We've given it a name, a hashtag series. We are now creating social media stories. Then we're collaborating. We're going, okay, let's create some Instagram reels, because we can share those reels on Facebook also, right? Then we can go, ask me anything. So come onto our stories, all three of our separate organizations, using this hashtag, ask us questions, ask me anything, and people can ask you questions about the work that you do. And then you respond by mentioning these users on social media, and you craft posts with open-ended questions. So this strategy is to create a mini campaign within the work that you do, and it's proactive. We get up, we do it on a Thursday, and we come up with new ideas, and we bring new people to the conversation, because every time new people come and new ideas come, new followers come, more engagement comes from that. Do you see it then there? You didn't spend any money. You didn't hire a company. You did it by yourselves. And all it takes is the human resources, or the resources that you have. And what's important is that a lot of people think in the organizations that we work in and the work that we do, is that Only comms can do this. Yes, communications people and communications teams are in charge of this work, but that doesn't mean that you can't get involved, that they can't lean on you or ask you to help with content or to ask you to speak on particular topics that they find you to be an expert in. And so really social media campaigning and any kind of digital campaigning is about a team coming together and being experts in the work that we do and putting it out there. Then respond to followers. This is so important. If you let people wait, they will find somewhere else to get the information. Don't let people wait. Give them a time. We have a time. We respond to DMs between a certain time. We try to do it every day, but we've also got an automated response for when people do message us and we can't get to that message immediately. Right? Then share engaging content from your organization or from other organizations. On our Twitter account, we like to retweet our sister organization, Frey Intermedia. We like to retweet JamLab. We like to retweet VITS because they do similar work to the work that we do. Sometimes they've got programs that you could do after you've done a program with us or that interlinks with some of our programs. And that's affordable for you. Why wouldn't we encourage that? Because we work in the same sector. Yes, we compete. We compete for investment and we compete for funding. But ultimately, our goal is to make sure that those who want to be educated in the media space are educated in the media space, right? I mean, of course, we believe that we deliver the best, but we also want you to be able to have access to who we believe to be the best in the industry. So we share engaging content from other organizations, not because we're being suck-ups, but because we care about the content and we care about the people. In this line of work, it's always important to show that we care about the people. Then, craft effective posts. I think that we've covered this quite a bit in terms of your conversations with Mama Ponya and with myself. I've added it in here because what we've put in here with crafting effective posts and using hashtags strategically are hyperlinks to resources that can help you to do that. In crafting effective posts, knowing the anatomy of a social media post is helpful when sharing social media content, right? Because no matter how unique your content is, nobody is going to read it if your headline isn't engaging. In fact, 8 out of 10 people only read the headline and then they go, I'm not interested, or, oh, this looks interesting. So if you want your audience to take further action when engaging with your social media posts, such as clicking or going to your website, you need strong calls to action, which is part of creating effective posts. Then in terms of using hashtags, we've discussed it twice now. What we've put in here are resources for how you can optimize your hashtag usage on LinkedIn and on Instagram as well. Then incorporate visual assets. So use images, use video, use GIFs, use pictures of your team, use videos of your team, speak into the camera, do interviews, have interviews with one another. And then follow a post schedule. You can get post schedules from social media management tools like Sprout Social or Hootsuite or Later, Brandwatch, Brand's Eye. You can Google them. You can get them on Pinterest. You can get them on Google. A posting schedule is going to help you because what you can do is you can plan all of your social media and schedule it ahead of time and then use the rest of your time to plan and brainstorm engaging content for your followers. Then cross-promote content. So this means your Facebook post that is linked to. So for example, we're doing a live lecture and the live lecture is taking place on Facebook. And the live lecture is taking place on Facebook tonight at 7 o'clock. Right? Not everybody's going to be able to make it, so we're going to record it. But maybe you know people that don't have a Facebook account, so we can live stream it on LinkedIn using the Facebook link. Then somebody can live tweet it for those who are not able to listen because maybe they're in a meeting or maybe they're doing something else, so they can follow the live tweeting on Twitter. And then it can be in a thread. And with that thread, you can screen grab it into a 10-image post on Instagram. And so what you're doing is you're cross-promoting the content to make sure that it speaks to one another and so that people on different platforms can see what you're doing and how you're doing it. And then they can decide how they want to engage because people on different platforms are going to respond and engage differently. Then Run social media contests and giveaways if you can. I think Mama Punya covered this beautifully. Hosting a social media content or a giveaway will get people talking and interacting. Giveaways are short-term promotions that create a buzz, they increase social media reach, they generate new leads and boost business sales if your organization is involved in generating any kind of sales. What you can also offer instead of sales is services, which is really, really important and something that many people don't have access to because they don't have funds or resources. Then, very quickly, I know we are running out of time, the internet algorithm and how it works. So, what is a social media algorithm? A social media algorithm is a set of rules and signals that automatically rank content on a social platform based on how likely each individual social media is used to like it and interact. User is to like it and interact with it. So think about it like this: the internet is kind of like space and time, right? It's the solar system, and there are planets, and then there are stars, and then there are atoms, and those flying shooting stars and stuff. The algorithm is space, and in space there's Google and Facebook and YouTube, etc. And those are all kind of the big things. And then in the algorithm there's us posting, and so it's all of these moving parts in space all the time. And then us as individuals are kind of going, oh, I like that, that looks cool, let me share that. Oh, I like that. That looks cool. Let me share that. And that's all really the algorithm is. All that we're trying to do is to make sure that whatever we put into the algorithm is what somebody's reaching in going, oh, I like that. Right? And so it sounds super complex, but it actually isn't. And what all that happens is that when we see things that are playing the algorithm, it's just organizations that have spent money because they don't have quality content necessarily, or that they've just spent money to be first and to be in Google's good books. And so the internet algorithm doesn't have to be something that is intimidating to you, because there are tools that you can use to optimize your content that are free and that can help you get yourself out there and into the algorithm space. So, to make social media algorithms work for you, you now know why social media algorithms exist and how they differ across platforms. We don't necessarily do, but there are resources for us to learn. Here are some overarching tips for scoring points with social media algorithms in general, right? So, post relevant, high quality content. Again, deliver what you promise, understand the trends, know the best times to post, encourage comments, saves, and shares, and experiment a lot and post more video. What I'm going to do, just quickly, I'm actually going to end there, because after this page is a list. It's about 4 slides of resources of social media management tools that we want to encourage you to use, that we want to encourage you to interact with and find. A lot of them are free. Some of them offer free trials. So I don't want to get into them. I want to give us some space for questions and answers. But the last thing that I want to share with you is that if you've been engaged in the session, you'll see that these things: post relevant, high quality content, deliver what you promise, understand the trends, know the best time to post, etc. These are things that come up quite often for us. They are important in engagement, they are important in the algorithm, they are important in search engine optimization, they are important in everyday posting, they are important in planning, and they are important in strategy. It's because the follower, the audience member, whether they are a stakeholder, whether they are an investor, whether they are a potential funder, whether they have millions or whether they have nothing, they are the most important, not us as the organizations. We serve these communities in the work that we do, but also in the content that we produce. And what we're trying to do is optimize our experience so that their experience is better, by creating an impact, but by not spending large amounts of money because we can't afford to do that. And and so I do hope that everybody found this really, really helpful, even though I ran through it really quickly.